back. In the previous tutorial, we had created 3 parameters for filling speed, temperature, and pressure. In this video, you learn how to create recipes in Tillit. So first, let's talk about what recipes are. A recipe groups control parameters for producing a specific material or following a procedure. Think of it like a digital instruction set that tells your equipment exactly how to operate when certain conditions are met. It's important to note that these control parameter values will be sent through ignition to your assets. Throughout this tutorial, we'll build a complete recipe for an orange juice bottling line. We'll configure different settings for glass versus plastic bottles and manage different production phases. Before creating recipes, please make sure that you've already created your control parameters. Now from the home page, click on Settings, then Recipe Management and Recipes, and then click on Create. And I'm going to put in orange juice filling speed, then save and open. So before creating rules, let's just go through what rules are. So rules are the heart of your recipe. Each rule is basically a statement that says when these conditions are met, send this value or multiple values for this control parameter to this asset. So now let's create our first rule. So click on Create. We'll start with a basic rule for filling speed that applies to all glass bottles. So let's have glass filling speed. Then we'll choose filling speed as our control parameter. And phases, I will explain that shortly after. And for priority, the higher number will take precedence. So priority 1 will take precedence over priority 0. For numeric value, this is the value that will be sent to your asset. So we have 45, and lower limit is the low acceptable limit. So I have 40 and then 50 for upper, and then continue. And here's where we'll put our conditions of when to send our control parameters values. So we want this control parameter value to only apply for glass bottles only. So let's choose material and then glass bottle orange juice. This means that only running orders that are producing orange juice in glass bottles will receive these parameters. And save. And you can always edit the conditions later by clicking here. So for example, I add another condition, say asset filler 1, and then save. And I can always remove it. I'll just turn it back to what it was and save. So now let's create another rule with different values for our plastic bottles. So click on Create, and I'll do the same thing. Plastic filling speed, and filling speed, and a numeric value, let's just say 60, and 55, 70. Continue. Condition, same as before, material, but here we choose plastic bottle, then save. You can test and see if these rules work by using Auto Preview. So what is Auto Preview? Auto Preview is how you can test to see which rules are actually being sent to your assets per order. Think of it like a simulation before going live. So let's take a look. Here you can see that I'm already testing against my plastic order. So now let's refresh it. So for this order, you can see that the value that will be sent is our plastic filling speed with the value of 60 and the corresponding upper and lower limits. And if I showed more columns on the table here, you'll be able to see the values corresponded. When using Auto Preview, it doesn't have to be a running order. It can be an order that is new or is in a ready state. This is more just simulating what would happen when that order starts running. So now let's choose the glass bottle. I'm going to put glass, and I've already prepared it. And here you can see that now the value being sent is the glass filling speed with different value and lower and upper limits. Great, so now let's talk phases. Phases let you send different values of the same control parameter for different production stages. For example, you might need slower filling speed during startup and then faster depending on the type of the bottles doing steady production. So now let's create. I'm going to name this startup filling speed. And then it's filling speed and 30 because it's slower. And then for material, it's just for now put glass bottle. And here we could see that for rules that have the same conditions like this, a way to see, well, which rule shows up first is to use our Auto Preview. So now let's change this to glass bottle. It's already there, and then we can see that the ones that's being sent is the glass filling speed. This is because when two rules have the same conditions, the one that gets sent is the one that takes precedence in alphabetical order. So here I'll change the priority of our startup rule to show that it will override. So 1 and then save. Now if we refresh this, we'll see the one being sent is startup filling speed. So now, but we want both of them being sent to the asset because they represent different stages. So this is where phases come in. Now I will put phase for this as 2 and then save. And now if I refresh this, then we'll have both values being sent with different phases and different values, as you can see here. So now let's talk version control and also promoting to live. So to use this recipe, you have to click promote to live and put a comment if you want, and then click published. So after a recipe had been promoted to live, you cannot edit the rules and the details for the recipe. A way to get around this is to click create a new version. When you do this, the recipe key will stay the same, so till it will know which recipe it is you're editing, but you can change all the details, even the name if you want to. So we still need to set our phases for our plastic orders, because here we can see that the glass one is sending the phases correctly, but if I put plastic, confirm, then only one plastic filling speed is being sent. So here I'll just make this into a generic rule and then save. And now if I refresh this, there's 1 here because I've made a mistake of not changing the phase of the plastic one. So I change this into 2, save, and if I refresh again, and here it's shown correctly. So we have 2 different values for 2 different stages. So this shows that you don't have to create duplicated rules. You can create more general rules that could apply in a wide variety of situations for your use case. So now that we've created a complete recipe with our rules, let's see what this looks like for our actual orders. So if I click on plastic order and detail, you will see that for our control parameter, there's no values here yet because our order has not started running. So now let's start it. So start. Then we would then see that the control parameters that are sent to this filler 2 is filling speed for phase 1 and 2. And then for our glass order, let's start it. And details, and here you'd see the same thing happening, but it's specifically for glass bottles. So now throughout our series, we've created control parameters and also a complete recipe that would set different speed values for glass bottles versus plastic bottles to your asset during production. To conclude, test thoroughly with your order preview. Remember to promote to live, organize recipes in a way to avoid duplication. Hope you enjoyed this video and see you next time.